It's here, it's now, it's the Premier League final table. 12 of the best started out, and now we're down to the final 6. Only one will be crowned the Premier League champion.
In order to gain the respect from everyone else, you have to definitely win the title.
I've just won the World Series of Poker main event, and I'm here to prove that I'm not a fluke by winning the Premier League.
It's 12 of the greatest players in the planet, and if I could do it twice in 3 years, it would be huge for me.
There hasn't been a game of no one hold'em in a while where I didn't think I was the best player at the table.
This would be huge. I mean, this is a title I'm missing, and it's the title I won. I came so close last year, and hopefully just to go one better would mean a lot.
Well, we've reached our final table of 6. Now the players will be starting with staggered stacks. Every point they won in the league table will now convert to 10,000 in chips for the final. The stacks are going to look like this. J.C. Tran will be your chip leader with 450,000. Peter Eastgate with 390,000. Juha Helppi on 340,000. And the shorter stacks, Tom Dwan on 260,000, along with Tony G. And Roland de Wolf, the current trailer, 230,000. It's like a dream. A dream final table 6. Certainly are the best in the world. You'd give your left eye tooth for this lineup, and here it is. Joined by Phil Hellmuth. And Phil, I mean, going around this table, it's big, best, and better. Tom Dwan in the 1 seat.
Here's a guy that played 50% of the pots, you know, nicknamed Durr. He's become extraordinarily famous in the poker world because he's made millions of dollars online. I nicknamed him Duracell because he keeps raising and raising and raising.
On his left, the Finn, Juha Helppi, former champion.
Yeah, and Juha is not going to be afraid to re-raise Tom Dwan. Durr can't have hand every time, therefore I re-raise.
A guy who really wants this title is Tony G.
Yeah, Tony G might want the title as much as anybody, and he had it in his grasp last year.
On his left, seat number 4, Roland de Wolf, who I think has been waiting to open up his game throughout this tournament. Everyone will be watching the chip leader, J.C. Tran, who has just oozed pure class throughout the tournament.
He's a deep stack tournament player by trade, and he's just the big favorite.
It is so hard to get money off this guy, but if there's one guy maybe who can do it, it's the world champion, Peter Eastgate.
I don't know if he has the reading ability to win this, but one thing's for sure, he's going to let the really aggressive players, he's going to trap them.
Let's look at the chips on the table. The yellow chips are worth 1,000, blues are 2, reds 5,000, and there's green chips on the table. They're worth 10. There's nearly 2 million in play here, Phil.
First side was like
and away they go. Now, Phil, what are you going to have your eye on early to give an indication of how things might go?
Well, I mean, I don't think early's very important, actually. I think that, you know, you have to let some time pass before you start to overcommit yourself.
Pass, pass.
I'm surprised to see JC come out on the first hand with the King 3 suited because he has Durr who's liable to play with him.
Would the other players have been expecting him to come out of the box fast?
No, I don't think so. So, I mean, in that sense, it's a pretty good raise.
as well.
There's so much history between these guys over the course of this tournament.
Cool.
See, now there's a hand where Juha Helppi would have re-raised Tom Dwan instantly. He would have re-raised Eastgate, but against Tran, he could only call because he doesn't expect Tran to have the King 3 of clubs.
And Phil, these stacks are not just deep, they're super deep. There's 24,000 in the pot. Both of them have just a lot back.
And wow, look at this for a first flop. Helppi has aces with the jack, and Tran has flopped the nut flush draw.
He's been the kind of player, JC, we've seen him quite often like raise before the flop with an ace and then check the ace-high flop.
12,000.
Yeah, yeah. He decided to bet out. The reason he bet out is, you know, number one, maybe King High's good, although I don't think he believes that. But he believes that if Helppi doesn't have an ace, if Helppi had a pocket pair, which was a likely holding, or King Queen, or King Jack, then he would fold his hand right now. That's why he bet. He's trying to make up his mind now. Do I check raise or do I just call?
Call.
First pot, and the club would just be huge for Tran.
Yep. Well, all right, there's a 5. So
Okay.
Helppi checks. Let's see how Tran's reading abilities are right now, because he should check here if he's reading Helppi well. He may be thinking, I might take a little $40,000 bluff at this pot because I can make a mistake. But I hope what he's thinking is he's checking out Helpy.
Check.
That was a very good check on his part, so he's decided to give up and just hope for a club.
What if the club comes? Whew, it's close.
Now, Helpy's in an interesting position here. He may decide to bet this, but it's been his past history to kind of check in these positions.
And what is he hoping to get called by if he does bet up?
I mean, he's really hoping to get called by ace-8, ace-9, 2 queens, 2 kings.
18,000.
So he made a very small bet, and I think Tran is going to just have to give it up.
Pass.
That's what he's done, and with that little pot there, not a huge pot, but it has sent Helpy up the scale and closed the gap between himself and JC.
Yuha's not really known for his bluffs, so, you know.
Who's commentary?
It was hard to imagine that he had anything, you know, other than an ace.
I mean, if there is one guy at this table who the players think are highly predictable, you know, that could really switch up his game, who would it be?
Call.
Tony G's been predictable. Roland's been predictable. Helpy's been predictable. But, you know, being predictable is not a bad thing at all, really.
Pass.
I like this limp here by Tran. He limped with 2 7s. And thinking in his mind that, you know, I can only really win a big pot if I hit a 7. Otherwise, I just pick up the antes. So he's trying to win a big pot early here.
He's got the blinds in with him, plus...
Now, that's a really good flop for the 7s. He doesn't know that Tony G has an ace.
Check.
So
10,000.
wouldn't be surprised if Tran called 10,000 here. To fold would be a really good laydown.
Tony G has been, he's been a little bit
Call.
sort of the mode, it seems like, during the heat stages of just check calling these type of hands. He's
Yeah, but Tran has no idea that he's looking at an ace. So I mean, he had to call. Most likely, it seems that
Check.
it seems like Tony G has a 6 or a 4. Now, let's see if Tran can check this back somehow. The 8 was a little bit of a dangerous card.
It's giving him a nice
Check.
draw for the straight, 5s or 7s now.
And he's checked it. I mean, he's like, all right. Wow. And he hit the runner straight. Hey, and then Tran's played this hand just, you know, really well, actually. He's gotten really lucky.
He has, and what sort of value bet is? I feels like he's going to be getting called.
Tony, yeah,
it?
Tony's calling no matter what. I mean, he could actually bet 30,000. I think Tran will bet more like a 15, 20,000.
Looks like 24.
Good bet. I think 20. Tony would have snap called 24. I think he still is going to call it.
I mean, yeah, he has called, and it really he can only beat a bluff here, really, right?
No, I mean, you know, Tony pretty much is one of those hands where, for Tony, it's like, well, I think I'm beat, but I have an ace. Yeah. So, in his mind, he just has to call it. That's a sophisticated laydown there. That's just really tough to do, I think.
Yeah, the matching bodies.
Tony G's always seemed like the kind of guy during this tournament, Phil, where confidence and momentum is such a big part of his game. I mean, he has to be careful not to get down on himself, doesn't he?
11,000 total.
Well, he's thinking in his mind that he was pretty unlucky that hand. He's running the scenarios, and if he would have bet on 4th Street, I think that he gets called.
Tony G has raised this from just a completely random position with a random hand.
He has nothing, and look, Durst latched onto something. He's like, what's going on here? It doesn't seem like Tony has much. So it's interesting that Durst spotted something already. Let's see if he can take advantage of it and re-raise.
I mean, what did he spot? I mean, tell me, Phil. I mean, this just is weird.
Well, I mean, this is one thing I've learned about Durst. He reads people well. Now, if Tony G, wow, that's pretty sick.
It's pretty sick. What's going on here?